All right, so good evening. Let's start our session today, our study session. And let's close our eyes. And let's elevate our thoughts to our friends, our spirits friends, enlightened spirits that come here every Tuesday to guide us in this study, to embrace with us this moment among friends, to inspire us to continue in this path of studying. Let's be thankful for the opportunity to be here. Let's thank God and Jesus Christ to always send their workers to help us in this path. And let's ask for the permission to start the study tonight with love, patience, and ask for the light to guide our hearts, and so be it. All right, let's start in sharing the screen. Okay. So can you see, Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can. Okay. So let's open like this. We are going to start the study of the gospel according to Spiritism and the introduction. Basically, the first part, the goal of this work, it says in the first part, what is the main idea why the gospel according to Spiritism came to this earth to help us to understand more about the gospel and the Jesus teachings. But just to remind that the gospel was written by Kardec because he had the help of the mediums, through the mediums with the spirits that, the spirits that he came to help him to put up this book for us to understand more about the Jesus teachings. And basically no, Jesus teaching is the base of the Spiritism, his moral. And he started explaining the gospel is divided in 5 parts. The Bible, when I mean the part of the Jesus life, the gospel. So those 5 parts, let's put over here. The first one is the ordinary events in the life of Christ, all the events that happened to Christ, Jesus Christ. The second part, the miracles. So first the Jesus Christ life, then the miracles, the prophecies, then the dogmas of the church, like heaven, hell, the way that the church put it up, the gospel according their point of view. And the fifth one is the moral teachings, which remained unassailable. But the 4 previous one that I just said, the life of Jesus, the miracles, the prophecies, and the dogmas of church, they subjects matter have been controversial, because when history came to play in this role, the scientists went through so many information about Jesus Christ's life. And Jesus Christ's life and his teachings has nothing to do with religions. Nothing to do. The religion came and put up his name and their point of view. That's why history plays the role according to science to explain the Jesus life. That's why miracles, his life, prophecies, the dogma of the church can be controversial. You know, we can question those things. However, the teachings, the moral teachings, it's, let me show this part here. I just put it up, the gospel, where it says, the first four have been the object of controversies, but the last, which is the moral teachings, however, has remained constantly inviolate before this divine code, even incredulity bows down. This is the common ground where all cults may be united, the flag under which all may gather, whatever their creeds may be, because it has never been a matter of religion's dispute, which always in all places have originating from dogmatism. So which means that the moral coming from Jesus' teachings has nothing to do with religion. And this one is the one that no questions. Everybody, if you look through the teachings, would agree, regardless the religions or beliefs, because it's all about good things. And it says, in the territory where all belief systems reconcile. Why all belief systems reconcile? Because everybody want to be respected, and everybody must respect. Everybody must treat each other in a proper way with love, charity, responsibility, and so on, so on, so on. And this doesn't mean any type of religion, as like so many religions says that God came and said something. No. So Max, God sent Jesus to teach us something. And in his whole life, the only thing that it teaching has done is teaching us love in all the matters. But why Kardec want to put it up this in the beginning of the gospel according to Spiritism? Because in the banner under which all people can reunite regardless of the belief system, which means it doesn't matter the religion or if you believe in God or not, you can study the gospel according to Spiritism, because it's all about the Jesus moral and teachings. And when we understand that Jesus doesn't come from any religion, it's out of any religion. The religion adopt Christ. Some religions adopt Christ, but Christ has no part of any religions, because it's for everybody. Everybody. And the gospel, the teachings, has never constituted motive of religious disputes, which means who knows better, this or that, it's right or wrong. Because when you're talking about moral, that is just one side of the story. There's no two sides. What is right, it's right. But what your religion says about it, it's different. Or what is the dogma says about it is different. Because the only thing that Jesus came to teach us is love. That's it, respect. And the base of the moral teachings, it's self-reform, the inner reform, which anyone can do it, regardless their beliefs, regardless their religions, their life, the place that they live. There's no attribute that you must have in order to do a self-reform. The only attribute maybe it's like want to, and that's it. And there has a part here as well in the gospel that Kardec says, let's see, everyone admires the moral behind the gospel. Everyone proclaims its sublimeness and the need we have of it. However, of the many who proclaim their faith, believing what others have said or relying on maxims which have become proverbs, few know the basis and even fear understand it or are able to deduce the consequence of it. In many cases, the reason for this is the difficulty of understanding the gospel, which for many is quite unintelligible. So, we are studying again the gospel, means that we have been through all the book. But by the end of the book, we just have to make one question. What do I have done? Have I learned something? And plus, have I put in practice what I learned? Because words are just words. It doesn't matter. We have the book. You come here every Tuesday, we study, and that's it. You know, that's why self-reform is something that if you want to do it, is just up to you. It doesn't matter the information that you have. But the moral teachings contains the basic principle of all social relationships. Basic. Do to others what you wanted they have done to you. Basic that. And so the goal of the gospel according to Spiritism is the moral teachings of Jesus Christ. And it's funny sometimes when somebody come across, especially in Brazil, but what do you guys do study? Spirits? No. We do study the Bible. And they like, really? Do you guys study the Bible? Do you guys talk about Jesus? Yes, we do. And actually, Jesus is the base. If you do not talk about Jesus, there is no way to understand the teachings from the spirits. And that's why this is the first part of this book. The spirits that came through the mediums to help Kardec to make this book real, they want to explain that is no way to understand and to live and to practice whatever the spirits, enlightened spirits came to teach us if we do not follow Jesus, follow his teachings. That's why the gospel, according to Spiritism, are the moral teachings of Jesus Christ. And that's it. And yes, we talk about spirits, but that's another matter. And the gospel moral principles are proclaimed by all for their sublime and necessity. Even you're believing something else. Sometimes we say things that, well, that is what Jesus taught us so many years ago about compassion, charity, forgiveness, be better, understand each other, and so on, so on, so on. And a lot of people state their faith on the gospel, but only few understand profoundly. And even less are those who understand and can foresee its consequences. How many of us can really, really understand and live the Jesus teachings. It has been more than 2,000 years that we still studying and not doing so much about it, you know. And it's okay and it's not, because at least you were trying to understand. And but where is the difficult to understand? Where is the problem when it comes to understand the gospel? In the allegorical form of language. That's why Spiritism came about 150 years ago. I mean, Kardec came to decodify the gospel in order to us to understand. There was the third revelation that we are going to study further on. So because the allegorical form languages, if you're thinking about it, Jesus lived in a era that it was more than 2,000 years ago. If you were still doing things, horrible things, imagine 2,000 years ago. How was that people? How was that, the humans back then? So Jesus had to use words, behaviors, teachings that could fit in the environment for those people to understand it. And what is the most important, those teachings, the goal of those teachings probably was not for that time. Probably not, because we are the same. We are the same people that were there 2,000 years ago, and you have been reincarnated in different places, in different families, in different cultures, and we still not understand. So many topics of the gospel and the Bible are ambiguous or even irrational because we lack understanding of their real meaning. If you want to really to understand the Bible, you need the people that has the degree in history, in Hebrew, and talk to Jewish, because they know that Torah, that is the name of the Bible, Torah, they know better. And by the way, they believe in reincarnation because they know there is in the Bible. So we need to go further to understand the meanings. But what the spirits did, they just put in the gospel according to Spiritism the teachings of Jesus Christ. They didn't talk about Jesus' life. They talked about the teachings. There is like the goal that the spirits came to help Kardec to put this in the book. Most people read it without understanding, consequently do not benefit from it. The moral standards it contains pass unnoticed. So that's why Kardec came, and by the way, Kardec didn't believe in God. Kardec didn't have any religion. But Kardec was a science philosopher and a professor. And when he saw the opportunity to learn, he went deep to understand. So to better convey the message, Kardec gathered in this book articles that constitute a universal moral code. Without any distinction of religions or belief. One more time, doesn't matter. He went straight to the point. The spirits made him go straight to the point in order to target what is the most important. So methodology.
Methodology.
Methodology, that's a hard word.
Yeah, that's hard.
The methodology used by Kardec gathered and classified systematically the postulates of Jesus Christ. Added his comments, because he did add his comment after a hard study, and the instructions of the spirits. What's most important, the instructions of the spirits in each part of this book, we are going to see it. And they are enlightened spirits. Unfolded the consequence with the application of the teaching to all walks of life. This part here, it's explained better. It says here, Kardec says, in order to avoid those abilities, we have collected together in this work, in this case, this book, all the subjects, so to say, that go to form a universal moral code without distinction as to creed. In those citations, we have kept all that it's useful to development of ideas, putting aside only that which does not pertain directly to the matter. Apart from this, we have kept that's another hard word,
I can't see the word, so I can't.
Can you read what I'm reading right now?
No.
It's not showing for you?
Mm-mm.
Oh, weird. Just a second. Let me stop sharing, share again. Really? It's supposed to. Okay, let's see. Can you see now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's the part that I'm reading for the book. Apart from this, we have kept, and this is the word that I'm trying to say.
Scrupulously.
That's hard. Scrupulously. Yeah. To the translations by Sassy and to the division of the verse. But instead of following a chronological order, which would have been possible and have made no sense, we have methodically grouped and classified the various maxims according to their respective natures, so that they follow on from the other as much as possible. Indication of chapters and verses permit reference of the original text whenever desired. So basically, they put what is most important on the Jesus teachings from the gospel, from the Bible. The details refers only to the material side of our work, which means Kardec's work with the spirits and the mediums, which in its own would be of secondary importance. The main objective was to put those teachings with easy reach of everybody by means of clear explanation, specifically those passages which have until now remained obscure, and so unfold the full consequences of these teachings and the manner in which they may be applied to all walks of life. This is what we have attempted to do together with the help of the good spirits who assist us, which means that there is no need to put the name of the mediums in this book. Because Kardec's the one that he put together the information, but the main information came to the spirits. And the medium is just a person that's help with the body, the physical body, to get communication with those spirits. That's why they didn't put the name here, because they didn't do anything but help with the body. The whole idea here didn't come from their minds. It came from the spirits, and some of the parts came from the studies from Kardec. That's the main reason. Many pains in the gospel, the Bible, in the writings of the sacred authors are in general unintelligible. Some even appear nonsensical for lack of key which should help in understand their true meaning. This key is to be found in its mass complete from with Spiritism, as those who have already made a serious study of it can verify. And as many more in the future will also come to recognize it. Spiritism is to be found throughout ancient times and repeatedly during the different epochs, probably, of humanity. We find vestiges in many places in the form of writings, in beliefs, and in monuments. This is the reason why at the same time in this opening new horizons for the futures, it's also projecting a no less brilliant light upon the mysteries of the past, which means the spirits came in the right time. In the line of to put the spiritism in this world, there was two more guys in case Kardec didn't want this job. Because it doesn't matter. There was the time to give the explanations about so many things. The spirit world knew that the time has come. The humanity is ready to some information or more information. There is the time. But it's, the Kardec accept the job when he understood the profoundly, and he understood how important those informations were, and we still studying, of course. Let me come back to the slides over here. So the key to understand the main important things about Jesus' teaching is in the Spiritism, because it provides the understanding of the real meaning of the gospel ethics comprised in the teaching of Jesus Christ. Basically that. We don't need to know much about the spirit world. What we need to know and learn and basically put in practice is the Jesus Christ teachings. But unfortunately, along of the centuries, the church and some religions has been doing a, let's say, a not that good job on those teachings, and made Jesus be a guy that make laws. And that's not true. Jesus didn't found any religion or church. He just lived his life teaching us how to love each other in so many ways, which we still have been learning or didn't learn. We can tell, right? So the gospel according the Spiritism is for everyone. We don't need a certain type of body, color of skin, race, clothes, financial situation to learn about Spiritism. You don't need even believe in God to learn about Spiritism. Has this guy in Brazil, all the time that I pass this first part of the gospel, has this guy in Brazil. And he has so many good books, so many good books. He's a psychologist, and when he's starting doing his books, making his booking, his goal was to prove that Jesus Christ was a fraud. That was his main goal, and he is a very smart guy, and he's a well-known in Brazil. His name is, and he has books in English, is August Curry. That is his name. And his main goal is to say that in his studies that Jesus Christ was a fraud. Jesus Christ exists, but it was a fraud. That these frauds came from so many brains inside of the church that made Jesus Christ a saint or something like that. But the more August Curry studied about Jesus Christ, the more convinced he was about his moral and his teachings. And did he just study the Bible? He went deep in historical studies from many religions, philosophers, and especially scientists. And by the end of his study, the conclusion is Jesus is the path. Jesus is the only way to us to live a better life. And then he started believing in God and reincarnation from all his studies. So that's been very interesting to see when somebody just take the time to really study about Jesus Christ, how many amazing things that you are going to discover. So we can all use it, the Spiritism, to adjust our behavior to the moral of Jesus Christ. For those who study, it offers its applications in a special way. And the instructions of the spirits are voices from heaven with the mission to enlighten humanity and invite them to practice the gospel, but not practice the gospel with dogmas. Practice the gospel with the heart. Enlighten our moral, because we need that desperately. And that's what basically that this first part, because this first part is this one, the objective of this work. What is the goal of the gospel according to Spiritism is to teaching in an easy way and with the easy words the Jesus teachings, and that's it. And then you're gonna learn so many other things. So, and this the last part, as a complement to each precept, we have added some well-chosen instructions for among us those dictating various countries and to different mediums. That's very interesting, because this work here, it's from a person that before this was a scientist, was a professor. So the methodology that he used, it was from a brain that thinks about science. We must follow certain, path. That's why in various countries and if different mediums, they receive the same message by the spirits. If they had been taken from only one origin, they would probably have suffered the influence either of the person or the ambient, whereas the diversification of origins prove that the spirits give teachings without distinctions and that no one person is especially privileged. That's a really important to understand when these messages came to put this book up. They came from different persons in different parts of the world, and they were compiled in one book. This work is for the use of everyone, from it may all discover the means by which we may apply Christ's morals to our daily lives and how best to go about it. This applies very especially to spiritists, thanks to the relationship between man and the invisible world, which has henceforth been established on a permanent basis. The law of the gospel, which the spirits have taught to all nations, will no longer be a matter of deed, words, because each one will be able to understand them and will see themselves incessantly compelled to put them into practice according to the counseling of the spiritual guides. Those instructions coming from spirit are really the voices from heaven who have come to enlighten mankind and invite him to put the gospel into practice. So basically, it's a gift, right?
Mm. Mhm.
All right, Jim. Open to comments. Oh, you are muted. Let me unmute you. Uh, wait a second. No, you still mute.
Gosh.
Oh, there we
Uh,
go. Now I can hear
I,
you.
I did see the Kardec movie on Netflix.
Okay.
It was very good. And
Yeah, it is. Is just a short part of his
right, an
hard work,
abstract.
but we have the idea what he had been through
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
order to deliver it what he's supposed to in this life.
Yeah, and it seemed that what was mentioned, what you were talking about, it was a specific time, and it was the time for them to come through and start to deliver these messages in a very big way. But you know, under different names, there have been societies for a long time that have had connections with spirits and have communicated with them in many cultures
Oh yeah.
for such a long time.
Yes, in the gospel in the beginning it says spiritism is not something new.
Mm.
The spirits, have been like communicating themselves for since the world is world, And if you go through the history, we are going to ended up seeing the Egypt, the uh, Jewish, those old part of the world. They
Mhm.
knew better than we do right now about those things because there were spirits ready to come to earth to help the progress. When you were going to talk about Plato and Socrates, they came before Jesus with ideas similar to Jesus.
Mhm.
But all those people that came with the idea of equally humanity, charity, good behavior, by their time, they people like look to them like those people are crazy.
Mhm.
But they came prepared already to deliver this message. And then Jesus came. And it's interesting to learn in this book, the Spirit says that Jesus prepared all those people to came before him to spread the
Mhm.
good news until the time that he came. And after Jesus, other came as well, to
Mhm.
teach so many good things and other things about the spiritual world and all those teachings. But yeah, yes, um, I believe in order to human beings to understand something takes time,
Yeah, in our case, a lot of time.
a lot of time, centuries and centuries.
I'm really interested to know what has kept them so connected to this world, to mankind, and just, maybe want to move on somewhere else and just be done. I mean, the progress is so slow.
Yeah, I think there is the question that most of us, when we understand a little bit about this, trying to understand why they came here to do this.
Yeah.
But at certain level in the Spirit's book, some of the questions is about that Kardec made for the spirits. And the Spirit says, in certain level, when we get there and we already understand about love, charity, in this point, you not want to move on and just be there And just because even you can, most of those spirits want to be around earth,
Yeah.
on in those spirit worlds around earth to help us the product.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, I'm gonna give a stupid example, but it's sometimes because my friend gave this example a couple days ago. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, it's like when you became rich by yourself, a billionaire,
Mm-hmm.
but all your friends is still poor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You want them to join you,
Mm-hmm.
to be fun. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Sure.
It's basically that. So why I'm happy right now, but how about the entire humanity?
Mm-hmm.
They still struggling, and in order to everybody be happy, we need to help everybody. Of course, there are so other enlightened spirits in another realms, worlds, because they have a job to do there.
Mm-hmm.
But the more enlightened you are, the more you do for others.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically that.
Mm-hmm.
So when Jesus came to earth, has this I think was a lecture that I watched. So the guy said, when Jesus came to earth, Jesus was a type of spirit more than enlightened, more than perfect. And when he disincarnated, the day that he disincarnated in the cross, the spirit that came to help the situation are a spirit with more 6 billion years. 6 billion years. Spirits that already have a degree of knowledge that we have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the spirits that work with Jesus
Mm-hmm.
in the earth, because every planets, let's say this, they have
Mm-hmm.
their own Christ or their own
Mm-hmm.
governor.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus is the governor for like the earth, and they work with so many other enlightened spirits and spirits more enlightened than Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're thinking about it, there is no way our brain can get this idea.
Mm-hmm. No.
It's impossible. Impossible. But Jesus came here and said something really important. You can do what I do and much more.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
can you imagine Jesus was one day like us? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That what the spirits came and said. So Jesus was like you guys. That's 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 why there is no way to know the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the beginning of the earth, but the beginning of everything, if
Mm-hmm.
there is a beginning, it's more than we can, you know,
Understand,
under,
comprehend. Yeah.
comprehend right now.
Mm.
And that's why the spirits in the first part of the spirits book says, take your energy and put it into to be better.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best that you can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
How to understand God and those things, you know, just leave for later.
Mm-hmm.
You guys not even able to love each other, to love people from your own family.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine understand God's.
Mm.
No,
Mm. Yeah.
we have a lot of to learn, Jamie.
Oh, a tremendous amount. But I think we're doing okay, though.
I think so. We were doing okay.
You know, I mean, I think we have a lot to learn, a lot to grow, a lot to be enlightened about. But, and I'm not judging people,
Right.
but I'm just saying that considering in many societies, in our own, there are people doing, we're doing pretty good.
Oh yeah. Well, thinking about it, we are here in the evening, Tuesday evening, studying about this, and we are true incarnated, but has so many disincarnating around us, learning the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and help us to understand. Some of them helping us to understand. But thinking about it, there's so many other people doing the same thing
Yeah.
around the world. And I'm not just saying about spiritists, but they get more spiritualists.
Mm-hmm.
They get more spiritual about life.
Mm-hmm.
And especially after the COVID situation that we have been through for more than a year,
Mm-hmm.
we have been through a tough moment this earth.
Oh yeah.
That's the moment that we just realize must be something else,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So otherwise we are here
Yeah.
alone. Yeah, kind of crazy to think like that. But I think we were doing great. We were doing slowly, but we were doing great.
Well, I mean, even just the basics, and like I feel um I can say assuredly about yourself, we're not killing, we're not stealing, we're not committing horrible acts on a regular basis. And I don't feel superior to people, but I'm just saying that there are a lot of people that are doing these things regularly.
Oh yeah,
So we must be learning as slow as we are, but we are learning something that we're not
definitely,
doing that. So,
definitely. So we have to think about that we are in our best incarnation
mm,
because probably we have done some of those things or all those things that you just mentioned.
probably,
So
probably.
if you're not doing anymore because we had learned something
Hmm.
from suffering or
Yeah.
other suffering. Yes, we still suffering for sure. We still have our problems, but
Hmm.
if we compare to some people that we still doing those wrong things, yeah, we are pretty good. All right, so let's just finish. Um, so let me tell you something. I don't know if you want to just send a message to her, but Samantha's father just passed away yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, he had some complications that he was like going through so many complications, health complications.
yeah.
But I don't know if she mentioned here, but
Didn't he fall? He had an accident or fell or something?
he fell and had an
Mhm.
accident, and he went to the hospital. But I don't know if so far I don't know if that's the main reason. But he has dialysis, to
Mhm.
perform dialysis, and he was so the body was so weak. And yesterday, she just sent a message to us saying that he's
Mm.
suffering a lot and ask her to pray for him. But like after 2 hours, I think she sent this message. Then she sent another message again saying that he had passed.
Oh,
Well, of course, she was like, very sad. The family, her entire family, they are very united,
hmm.
And but that's life. Nah, that's that.
Yes, it is life.
It is life.
The
It
suffering that people endure, it's unbelievable.
it is.
It
And we
really is.
see somebody that we love that much suffering, so
Yeah.
it's a relief
Yes.
to see the spirit go, and
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'm just wanna like just make the pray, just put her on our thoughts right now and
Of
just
course.
good vibrations to her and her family. Okay, so let's close our eyes one more time and ask the permission to finish our study this evening, this blessed day. Be thankful for the opportunity to be here among friends. Be thankful for the opportunity to learn more and more about Jesus' teachings, because his teachings is the only way. It's not the way, but the only way for us to grow as human beings and spirits. And let's put our thoughts and vibrations tonight, especially for our friend Samantha and her family, especially for her father that had just disincarnated yesterday, asking for all the good spirits, the mentors, to be blessing her house, her hearts, and especially to guide her father's spirits to a better place where he can recover and continue his path along the eternity. Let's send all the our vibrations, put our heart, our good thoughts, and ask God and Jesus and all the works to send love and peace to all the hearts that are suffering right now because somebody has just passed in their family, or because they are going through a medical condition, a health condition, or maybe because they just lost their house. The ones that are living on the streets, they don't have a roof above their heads, a clear water to drink, to take a shower, a food on their plates. For all those, they are facing difficult moments right now, no matter how they're feeling right now. Let's all ask Jesus and the good ones, the good spirits are friend to send comfort to their hearts and peace, and to make them don't give up and believe there is always tomorrow. And then they can just learn from the difficult to be better. And let's close our session one more time. Be thankful for the opportunity to be here, and so be it. And yes, my friend, um,